Mothra is a unique kind of kaiju film, even by the standards that had been set at the time of its release in 1961. A little more removed from the genre's more science fiction-based roots, Mothra is more steeped in whimsy and fantasy, meant not to frighten or shock, but instead to entertain and instill in the viewer a sense of awe and wonder, and the result is a quintessential monster movie that birthed one of Toho's most popular characters. Essentially the Japanese equivalent of King Kong, Mothra opens with the discovery of a mysterious civilization on what was thought to be an uninhabited island. An expedition led by the obviously villainous Clark Nelson comes across two twin girls the size of dolls, who are kidnapped from their island home and forced into slavery. While our heroes do their best to rescue them, it turns out an even greater force is on the way. Mothra, a giant moth that the natives worship and has a psychic connection to the twins. It then becomes a race against time to free the girls before Mothra arrives, causing untold amounts of destruction along the way. Mothra was the beginning of a transition period where Toho began making kaiju movies with younger audiences in mind. The movie has the same lighthearted comedic tone that would begin to take hold of the Godzilla series when it returned the following year. While taking itself relatively seriously, much of the time the movie is played for laughs. This is reflected by the casting of Frankie Sakai as the lead journalist character Zen'ichiro Fukuda. Sakai was a popular comedic actor in Japan, and he is given many instances of physical comedy to play with. The other standout character is Nelson, played by Jerry Ito. His character is so over-the-top evil that you instantly know just by looking at his smarmy face. There's no nuance to him, but he makes for a great human villain to root against. And that's one of the many ways Mothra stands out against other monster movies. It has an above-average cast of characters that are actively involved with the plot all the way through. They are genuinely likable, which is a good thing because this movie is remarkably restrained. Despite the title, Mothra clearly isn't the focus here. It's the Shobijin, played by twin sisters Yumi and Emi Ito. All of the drama centers around them, with Mothra merely their reaction to their kidnapping. Thus, mayhem and destruction are not a priority with this film, so anyone going in expecting Godzilla levels of destruction may be disappointed. Like Godzilla and Rodan, the release of Mothra marked another milestone for Toho, further refining many of the techniques that had been established in those prior films. Tsuburaya continues to improve his craft, bringing both forms of Mothra to life with a solid sense of scale that makes the scenes of destruction all the more impressive. Ishiro Honda's direction keeps what is admittedly a very outlandish premise grounded, humorous, and always engaging. And much like the original Gojira, the film doesn't shy away from the politics of its era. The fictional country of Rolisica, with its reckless abuse of atomic power, is a not-so-subtle substitute for the United States, making the film a biting satire of the Western ideals of capitalism that had been influencing and rebuilding Japan at the time. It is an understatement to say that Mothra had a momentous impact on both Toho and the kaiju genre. The movie was a huge hit in Japan, and Mothra would go on to become the second most popular monster behind only Godzilla. In many ways his polar opposite, she is one of the few purely virtuous monsters, a creature of beauty that doesn't set out to destroy, only doing so if she or her people are threatened. In this way, she brought a distinctly gentler and more feminine perspective to the genre, making her one of the most distinct kaiju ever conceived. Mothra is required viewing for anyone interested in Godzilla and kaiju movies. It won't sate the appetite of those looking for more traditional monster action, and its weirdness, slower pace, and quirky tone may be off-putting for some, but without Mothra, the house that Godzilla built simply wouldn't be the same. If Godzilla is the king of the monsters, then that makes Mothra the queen. For more reviews and opinions on all things Godzilla, stay tuned to Up From the Depths.